Recording now. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 7 of PODTC. We've now eclipsed the first half-year mark. I'm surprised a little bit that this has been going so well. A lot of good feedback from you guys, and I really appreciate it. So I have today another great guest, another one of our award winners. She is at Lorain County Community College. Today, I am joined by Dr. Brenda Pongracz. How are you doing, Brenda?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty well as well. Summer, all warm weather at this point. There is not a Canadian wildfire running through Northeast Ohio today, though there was last week. So I was actually able to go outside, And
it's not August yet, so we can breathe for a little bit.
A little bit longer. Have you been staying indoor for the wildfire, or you just don't care? You go outside anyway?
I go outside anyways, but I probably should care, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. The one day it smelled like a campfire all day. I know it was horrible for the environment, but I kind of like the smell of campfire. So
I was actually in New Mexico for the worst of it. So I missed that week where you couldn't see across the street. So
well, good for you.
I got lucky. Yes.
Yeah. It was probably also the same temperature of the surface of the sun while you're in New Mexico, though.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you joining me today for another installment of this. We're going to really just deep dive into a couple things about you, why, OTC would have maybe awarded you something. We'll get into that later, but let's just start out with you. I usually ask my guests, I'll call them on this podcast, just to share a little bit about yourself with the broader audience. We've been working together for years, but if someone doesn't know you, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. So I have been at Lorain County Community College since August 2018. And before that, I was at Cuyahoga Community College for about 14 years in various roles. I went to Hiram College and have a Bachelor of Arts in Music and Theater. And then I went to Cleveland State University and have a Master's in Music History. Then I worked at Cleveland Opera for a while in marketing, and then I went back to school and got another master's in vocal performance and opera performance from Temple University in Philadelphia, and came back to Cleveland and did a lot of singing and freelance work until my first son was born, and then I got the job at Tri-C because I needed health insurance. So my husband's also a freelance musician, so someone needed a job. And from there, I just kind of worked my way up and ended up getting my doctorate in higher education leadership. And I am currently the Dean of Arts and Humanities and the Associate Provost for the University Partnership at Lorain County Community College.
That's such a mouthful of a title. I almost wonder if you got a name tag, like how wordy would that
be? It just says my name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. You already have enough letters for the degrees after your name. You don't need to keep adding titles to it as well.
No. And we talked about combining the titles, and there's really no good way to combine them. So
I was going to say, unless you just made something up, like Dr. Head of everything, because that seems to be what you are. And then it's just up for interpretation what you actually do every day.
Yes.
So that's a big split role that you work, and we'll kind of deep dive into that for here in a little bit. But to start off, I asked Ben this last month, how did you enjoy the OTC conference this past month now?
I enjoyed the OTC conference. It's always a fun time to sit and talk to fellow transfer nerds and get ideas and share stories and, communicate with all of our partners in person. It's always good to see people because we all email and phone call and Zoom throughout the year, but it's good to actually see people in person. So It's a good time.
It is a good time. I'm partial and obviously on the executive board and help plan it every year, but I'm always glad to hear that people at least have a good time. And I mean, I had to swindle you a little bit into even coming this year. We'll not dive too deep into that, but
I was supposed to be on vacation, but that's okay.
Yep. And then someone just had to win an award, right? So the Jonathan Tafel Award is really the big one that we hand out. You have to be in the field for 10 plus years. And of course, working at a community college, we feel like in any capacity, transfer is a part of the mission, especially with Tri-C and Lorain.
Yes.
I mean, you exhibit plenty of the qualities that we look for in awarding something like that. So when your nomination came through, I felt it had a strong chance, and you know, the committee chose. So you were at Tri-C for a while. You started, you said you worked your way up. So I usually ask, like, how did you get into working with transfer students? Was it something that you think was part of your first job at Tri-C, or did you kind of snake into it at some point? How did that kind of happen?
I snaked into it, sort of. So I started off at Tri-C just as an administrative assistant to the vice president of student affairs and academic affairs. So I worked a little bit with transfer in terms of financial aid and academic affairs, but then from there I went to work for the CFO doing project management, which was completely not involved with transfer at all. But then when they opened the West Shore campus, I was the director of the enrollment center at the West Shore campus.
Okay.
And when that West Shore campus opened, there were very few of us employed when it first opened. So I was director of the enrollment center, which meant I was everything. I did international, I did enrollment, I did veterans, transfer, all of it, recruitment, all of it. So until we built our staff out. So that's really where I started diving into transfer and working with students who wanted to transfer, because we were connected with the counselors who were doing the advising. And then we were the front desk for enrollment and working with student questions.
Awesome. Yeah, it just, everyone's got a different story. Some people start in, I remember we were talking to Melissa Swafford in the first one, like she spent some time in athletics even, and then just like randomly makes the jump sometimes. So it's always fun to hear about that. And especially you start in just that first capacity under the vice president, or, what you said, and then eventually just like positions come available and you start jumping around. And then of course, being in the head of a enrollment center at a community college, of course, you're going to cross paths quite a bit. So very cool. I mean, right now, though, you had half of your role, but you had the university partnership at Lorain County Community College. It's in its 26th year this year, right?
Starting 26, yes, this fall.
Yes.
Last year was our 25th anniversary, so started in 1995.
Yep, I remember the branding for sure. Yeah. I think that obviously it's a vital service for students that live in the community in which you guys are located, but I feel like a lot of us have heard about the UP. Could just be because I work in Northeast Ohio, though. Could you just provide some historical context and maybe how it's evolved over the years?
Certainly. So as I said, it was started in 1995. There was a study done for Lorain County educational attainment. And as they were looking at the numbers, a lot of people in Lorain County had associate's degrees, higher than average, had associate's degrees, but we were way below average in bachelor's degree attainment. So there is no public four-year university in Lorain County. Our closest partner is Oberlin, and they're a private liberal arts college. So there was no easy way for people living in Lorain County to get a bachelor's degree. There was an easy way to get an associate's degree, and they were doing that. So the university partnership was started with our 5 partners, Kent State being one of them, one of the original partners. And the concept was that the partners would offer their classes on the Lorain County Community College campus, because like most community colleges, our students are often place-bound. They're older adults. They're either working or raising a family or doing something else that keeps them in Lorain County, so they can't go away to school once they complete their associate's degree. So it started with the partners actually sending faculty to our campus to teach the classes in person. And that has evolved over the years, especially with technology. And then the pandemic, a lot more is now online and available for students in that capacity. So students can complete their degree online. We do still have partners that have an active presence and teach classes in person at the university center on our campus, but a lot more is online or Zoom, as we're doing now. We call it online live. Some people call it something else. It's, that synchronous online. but we're still serving those students that are place-bound. And one of the main things about the university partnership is we support the students even after they transfer. So if they're part of a university partnership program, they are still part of the Lorain County Community College campus. They can use all of our facilities. We have advisors that meet with them. We can help them. We don't give them their financial aid, but we can help answer their questions. They can use our gym. They can use the library. They can use our technology. We really try to support them so they have a home base, even if they're taking classes online, just like they would if they went to Kent State and we're taking online classes. They have a home base. So we try to be that home base and that support system for them to help them complete the degree, even though they're technically a student at one of our partner institutions. So we currently have 14 partners and over 66 bachelor's programs. We also have master's programs. So we have a lot of options for our students.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I know that there's other, when you guys like host fairs, you guys have advisor or like counselor spaces for your, like for me, I come and I have my office at Lorain in the same building that,
Right.
your office is in. So when students are coming in and they're talking about the partnership and transferring and such, oh yeah, he's right down the hall. Let's take you down there. He posted
Right.
that he's coming, or, you guys just make it very easy to come and visit and give us our space to connect with students and such. So we're always grateful for that. I know that, so like the university partnership's been around for a long time, and in a way, it's a very unique way to do transfer, quote unquote. But I know that you guys have also added a formal, like is it technically within the UP? Like obviously physically it's the same office, but like the transfer center, quote unquote, that just started a few years ago, right?
Right. That started in 2020 as part of the grant we were working on together for the Ascendium grant. But yes, it's part of the university partnership. So Lori Gibbs is our transfer advisor, but she also spends time over in our enrollment center and has student appointments over in enrollment or over here in the university partnership offices.
Yeah.
So all things transfer fall within the university partnership, even those articulation agreements. So we do have regular articulation agreements where the student transfers out and goes to that partner school, or the university partnership model where they stay on our campus and are part of LC, but completing their bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
We also have 2 bachelor's degrees that we offer, applied bachelor's degrees in smart manufacturing and also MEMS, microelectronic. I can never remember what it stands for. But so we have our own bachelor's degrees that are technically under the UP umbrella because they're bachelor's degrees.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's always funny working in higher ed where sometimes the acronym and you're like, I don't remember what that ever stands for. So don't ask me. If you do ask me, I'm going to Google it.
I'm going to get in trouble. All I can remember is MEMS. So
I'm just joking.
This is out on the internet now. Yes.
You're just
what it stands for.
You're just, you're put on the spot. We all forget stuff when we're put on the spot. So it's okay. You're also chugging coffee now. So I'm thinking you're trying to get more alert as we go. So obviously, the UP is part of your job, but it's not your whole job. You're also a dean, not just a little job here and there. Like you do a couple of really important things at LC3, but also that might give you an advantage when you're working with forwarding your UP status, your transfer work, having your unique position as a dean. I would think, it's a lot of work. I don't necessarily, it's not a small thing that you do, but it could also help you in the long run. So do you think it's advantageous to have both when you're working to forward transfer at Lorain, and how do you kind of think of that?
I definitely think the 2 go hand in hand because all of the degrees offered in arts and humanities really are that Associate of Arts for transfer. So if you're thinking about going into English or communication or music or theater, a 2-year degree really shouldn't be your stopping point. You really need to think long-term and think of that 4-year degree. So it really is a transfer intended degree. So I think having both hats really helps me focus on not just what are those students taking while they're at LC, but where they're going to go when they're done. And since I've taken over the associate provost role, we've really looked at the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of transfer agreements in arts and humanities. So we've worked to add more of those kind of partnerships to help students get that bachelor's degree in one of the arts and humanities. There's also, social sciences and science and math are transfer degrees, really. So we're looking at adding programs to make sure that those students have an option to finish that 4-year degree, because it will make them ready for a career if they finish the bachelor's degree.
Yeah. I know this is more like a state school, obviously centric thing, but I would assume that a lot of the OGTPs and
Yes.
like tag courses also are going to fall under you, given the fact that an AA is such a versatile transfer degree, and a good amount of the OGTPs, not every single one of them, obviously, but a good amount of them do bank off of an AA or an AS under you. So, okay, cool. And then having that connection with faculty, I'm assuming you help out Kristen, get those pathways,
Oh yeah,
get those meetings set up and
get
stuff.
the pathways reviewed and get the meetings set up and work with my fellow deans on that
Mhm.
quite a bit. Yes, because we
Yeah.
definitely want faculty to be a part of building those pathways and making sure that students are taking the right courses here and that they all transfer and they're using the Ohio Transfer 36 courses and the tag
Mhm.
courses to make sure it's as seamless as possible.
Yeah. And just for the audience, Kristen, Dr. Gerhardt, should I say doctor?
Yes.
You got Dr. Gerhardt, you got Dr. Gibbs, you're a doctor? Bunch of
Actually,
smart
Lori's
people.
not a doctor, but yes,
Oh,
Dr.
JD.
Gerhardt. Yeah.
JD, come on,
JD.
close enough.
Okay,
Close
close
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a doctorate of some sort. Regardless, you got some smart people in your office.
Definitely.
Anyway, Kristen, Dr. Gerhardt, heads the pathway development, or at least, that's her main priority there. So just some insight for everyone listening. So this is just it's a fun question for me. I don't think it's a fun question for you, but obviously with every position, right, everyone even has like a pretty hefty amount of duties as assigned, as we all know, and you splitting these two major roles, I have to assume that your duties as assigned plate is pretty legendary. So how do you balance all of that? Because you're already balancing the two probably more or less like set in stone priorities of these two positions, but I'm sure things are added to your plate all the time, like doing a podcast episode. So how do you balance this all the time? Is it just coffee, or is there another trick to it?
Well, there's a lot of coffee involved. Yes. So, a lot of coffee involved, but so right now I'm rebuilding my arts and humanities team, which is, that happens every once in a while. It's higher ed, people come, people go. But I've always had strong teams in both offices. You mentioned Kristen and Lori, and I've also got Debbie Sadowski, who works for me as my administrative associate in the university partnership. Yeah. So I've got a really strong team at the university partnership office, and they are very good at taking direction or taking ideas and running with them, and checking in as needed, but they're very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And very smart. Lori's been an advisor for a long time. She really knows what she's doing. And Kristen has been doing pathways work for a long time, and she really knows the ins and outs of what we're looking for and how we can best help our students. So I think it really helps to have strong people in the offices, and to allow them to do their work and not interfere unless they ask me to. So I'm a firm believer in letting them do their jobs and trusting them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
So this past summer, I've had to take over international. I have 2 people that are starting, but I've had to go back to my enrollment center roots and relearn how to do I-20s and deal with CVIS. It's been good for me, because these are things I did about 10 years ago and haven't done in a while, but it's been an interesting summer. I have not had a vacation yet because I've been filling in for other people. But once those people are up to speed, I know that they will take it and run with it. And so that having those strong teams allows me to look at the big picture and to float between both offices and to really do that administrative work rather than being in the weeds all the time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, your EP team is really great. I do.
Yeah.
We call them smart, but they are very
They're
self-sufficient.
very sufficient. Yeah. Very
for
self-sufficient,
sure.
very capable. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and then also the one time you did try to take a vacation day this summer, you had to go to Columbus because I ruined it. So
that's okay.
yeah, you need a day off too, for sure. So make sure add that to your list whenever you can. So you just gave your team a lot of praise. And I'm going to flip it on you because they offered you a lot of praise when they nominated you for the Jonathan Tafel Award this year. So they gave a few attributes, just a few, and I picked some. So they describe you as professional, organized, on point, prepared, diplomatic, decisive, kind, caring, and compassionate. This was a small amount of the attributes that they gave you. I did literally only pick a few. I'm going to put you on the spot. Why do you think that they said all that?
Oh, it's
Come on, you can brag.
I
It's
know.
all right.
It's hard to say. So I think, as I said, I recognize that they have very strong talents and they're very capable individuals, and I trust them to make good decisions and to do their jobs well. I also know that they are people and they have lives outside of this institution. And sometimes things come up that they have to go take care of them. And that is totally understandable. And I allow them the flexibility to do that and to come back when those issues are dealt with. So I want to make sure that they know that their personal lives are very important to me as well. And they need to be able to take care of friends and family and relationships outside of this institution. Their job can't be 100% everything they do. And we've all had that where you realize, oh my goodness, this job is taking over my life and need to step away for a minute. And that happens to everybody. I try to be very, I'm juggling 2 jobs and doing a lot of work. So organization has always been one of my strong suits. And I try to make sure that I'm on top of what I'm supposed to be doing and what other people are supposed to be doing, but also not waste their time. If I need to make a decision quickly, I will do that. If we have the time to actually delve into it and work on it as a team, then we will do that. So I think circumstances play a lot into whether you're decisive or collaborative. So, and they're both, my team, when you read the nomination at the conference, that's the first time I heard it, and I was a bit overwhelmed, but we all get along really well. And I think that shows in the work we do. It always helps when you like the people you work with, such as working with you or with Ted or those at Kent State. We all get along. So it makes for a good working relationship. And I think it helps with productivity too, when you can have that good working relationship.
I agree. I totally lobbed you just to brag about whatever you wanted and to be super not humble. But then, of course, you come and just start talking about being a good boss to your employees. So you are very people centric, for sure. That was one of the first things that I knew about you, and who used to be under you always spoke very highly of you as well, Billy. So yeah. I agree with the list. I just pulled a few. It's too long for a podcast episode, so we're not going to read the whole thing. Some people were at the conference, so they already heard it. So it was very much a well-deserved award, and I'm happy that we get to showcase the good work that you do all the time, because 2 jobs and you're juggling that and you're got everything else going on in your life and you're still there for other people, which I think is very commendable.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm really through all my questions. I always give everyone the opportunity. Is there anything that you would like to add to the membership and anything else you got going on or want people to know of?
No, I just, we all know the importance of transfer, especially for community college students. And I don't want to ever lose sight of that. And making it as easy for those students as possible. So that's our main job, is to focus on the students and to make sure that they can go on to whatever degree they're seeking, whatever career they're seeking, whether that's a bachelor's degree or an applied degree or whatever they want to do. We're really here to serve them. And I appreciate all our four-year partners that are really focused on transfer, because that makes it a lot easier for us to help our students make that leap. And a lot of them are afraid to make that leap. So it's great when you have strong partnerships and can work together to really benefit the students as much as possible.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah. And that's why the conference is great and everyone should go, because you can get ideas and talk to other people. And the Ohio Transfer Network really supports all of us in that work, which is important.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for plugging us so I don't have to.
You don't have to, no.
Well,
No, I know, I was just going to say it's a great organization and it really helps us focus on why we're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brenda, for sitting down, via Zoom, of course, and talking to me about you and the great work that you guys are doing at Lorain County Community College. Again, this has been episode 7. This has been a really awesome experience for me, just to get to talk to people from all around the state. We will next month have our next episode, so stay tuned for that, and we will talk to you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.